This video is sponsored by the Amazon App Store UK.
Hello and welcome back to Disappointing Turtle, getting into the Christmas spirit here. And the reason why I'm wearing my hat a bit like a pilgrim is because it is stupidly big. Look at this! I don't even know if I can get it all in the shot. It's absolutely nuts. So yeah, we're going like this. Ridiculous, but it keeps me amused. I look like a tiny little garden gnome. Anyway, right, today I keep seeing the same thing coming up in line groups and on Facebook official and stuff like that, and people are still not grasping how to work out their point score. So, yeah, math is not my strong point, but I'm gonna try and show those of you that don't understand it or don't know why you're not getting these points during main event. I'm gonna try and explain it as best as I can. So, let's get on with that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to just say, before you do these main events, obviously we don't have one going on at the moment, so I can't show you exactly what you need to do, but I know that you guys are very bright and you can figure it out for yourselves as long as you know the basics, so that's what we're going to go over. But you just need to keep track of the things that you have, the things that you've already built up and accumulated. Let's just go and have a look in my coat of arms just as an example so we can get a baseline here. So I've got all rage fires. You can see that I've got upgrades and stuff ready to go. So we're going to go in and I'm going to have a look. So here I have got a flawless rage fire. Okay, so keep note of that. You need to remember that because essentially you're going to be upgrading from that. So I like to write stuff down. I usually write it down on a piece of paper. Then what you need to do is you need to click on your profile and go into here. And then you see this here where your power score is. We're going to click on the exclamation mark. And then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Da da da. Takes a really long time. Da. We will get there. It's happening. It's happening. Right, and here, you can see this bit here, high scores. This is what you're looking for. So every time on the main events when you're trying to boost your score, this is the score that you're trying to boost. So we were just looking at coat of arms. Okay, so this is my total score down here for coat of arms. Ordinarily, I would write that down on a piece of paper. I can't see a pen in my vicinity right now. I'm gonna try and... I've got lipstick. So 1412776. Right. We're gonna close that one up. And that one. Right. Now, this little information button here that most people don't pay any attention to, we're going to go into that. And you have two pages here. You've got news and recommended. We're not fussed about news right now, so we are going to go into recommended. Now, in here is where you will find what all of the different things are worth, what their individual point score is, or what it will be. So we're going to have a look in here, and we're looking at coat of arms, so we're going to go into this. Do you remember what it was? It was a flawless rage fire. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to find... I think it was Ryder that we were looking at. Right, if you have a legendary rage fire, and you're then going to go up to Thunderbolt, you need to dismantle this one in order to be able to make this one. I need to make sure that I'm pointing at the right ones, because there's 4 different types, and make sure that you're looking at the right ones as well. So you've got Jeweler, Rider, Fencer, and Musketeer, okay? So make sure that you're always looking at the right one as well. But basically what's going to happen is, this number here is going to get taken away from the total that you had before. And then what is going to get added on is this basic number here. So that is a huge, huge difference. That's a huge loss. In order to make up that loss, you're going to need to do the basic and then the next one above it as well to be able to start getting a turnover. Now, coat of arms is actually one of the easier ones to work out. When you start getting into the guard weapons, the gear and the gems typically are a lot more difficult to work out because the numbers are just greater. Equipment, is one that gets a lot of people. So I know a lot of people at the moment have obviously been upgrading to Bloodtooth. Okay, so let's go into equipment score, the one at the top here. Bloodtooth, so these are all the ones that everybody's upgrading to, right? I'm just going to go down to Pursuer, because this is what I've seen most of the discrepancies about, or people shouting that they've not got their points. So I just want to explain why. If we go down to Pursuer Armour, +7, okay? So it's 1,853,630 points on +7 armour. You're then upgrading to Bloodtooth armour, okay? Which, yes, Bloodtooth has better stats, but just because it has better stats, it doesn't mean that it has a higher point score. So we're going to go back up here, and we're going to have a look and see what the Bloodtooth armour is. Because remember, that number for the +7 is going to be taken away because you're dismantling that piece, and the idea of getting a higher point score is that you are putting on top of. So just because you're taking the numbers away, the game still knows what you were at your highest. It doesn't then say, okay, you've taken away 1,850,000 whatever. It will turn around and say, no, this is what your score was. You're now deficit. So you need to keep putting on to make it equal, and then you need to keep putting more on to go further ahead. So Bloodtooth armor. What is it? 23,000? No. Is it? Why can't I do math? No, 237,312. That completely was not going in my brain then. I know I said I was bad at math, but bloody hell, that's awful. Okay, so we can see that we are shy of like a huge amount there. So then what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to go, right, Bloodtooth, you're going to have to take that number. Then you're going to have to add it to the +1, see if that equates to what you've lost. Then you're going to need to add it to +2, and so forth and so forth and so forth, until you've made that number back up again and more. And it is the and more that will get you the points in those main events. So going from a +3 even, I think, is more. Let's go back down and have a little look. +3 Pursuer armor. 219,000. Can't remember what the Bloodtooth was. Come on. Yeah, okay, so if you go from a +3 and then craft, you will beat your point score. But if you're going from +4, 5, 6, 7, you're not going to. You're going to have to do multiple upgrades. Which brings us to the next thing, and that is where to put those upgrades. So on the old format where we used to build troops, we were building mixed tier formations. There still could be something in the mixed tier formations, but for now we're discounting those because nobody's really sure how to do it. And the way that the new guards are set up, it means that you need to, bar distance infantry or infantry cavalry, you can't really mix them up too much. You can have some backup troops, but the bulk of your march needs to be the same troop type as your guards. Right, let's come back into this in a second. So when you're putting your let's go in here. When you're putting your points on and you're looking at what you should be upgrading, go into I've only got my sword in here. Bless him, my little lonely sword. Oh, it's got some. Missed that, didn't I? Dude. Okay, Bloodtooth. So really, what you want to be doing is focusing more on whichever march you're building up at the time. So when you're starting new accounts now, generally it will drop certain guards. Whatever guards drop first is the march that you should be building first, because you've already got something to back it up. So if cav guards drop, you start working on cav. Distance drop, you start working on distance. If it's infantry, wait until you get a cav or a distance. So you want to focus on these. Right, let's have... trying to think of a better example of this. So, curios. Let's have a little click on these. I'm going to have to invest in these ones, clearly. Okay, so... troop stats for me, personally, I'll always do them first anyway. So you want to push those up as high as you can, because that is everything, rather than just one focus. But if you get your distance march, and say I had my... I'm bloody miles off, but I'll probably buy these in next event. But, you know, say I had all of those, so I was going to do that upgrade. Rather than putting it on any of the other ones, I would go for whatever my main march is. So, yes, I know there are lots of people out there that like to have even stats, but now you're actually at a disadvantage if you do that. You just want to be boosting whatever your main march is. So if it's distance, I'm going to put everything I've got, 4 curiosities, on distance, and I'm going to max that one out first before moving on to the next one and doing that. So if I had enough books to open up, say, both distance and cavalry, I would do all my distance first, and if I had anything left over, then I would start putting it on my cavalry, so that you're maximising those distance stats before you're starting to put on other stats that you might not be using those troops as much, so it's almost kind of mislaid. I think it's the same with guard weapons as well. I showed you guys the other day, I don't have any of the new ones, so I don't really have anything to compare it to, but it works the same. You want to prioritise whatever your main march is, or main marches are, and then you want to go on to the next one. So you could end up getting 12k stats on distance and still have 6 and 7k stats on your infantry and your cavalry, and that's fine because you're using your distance more than you're using your infantry and your cavalry. So lots of people have their own systems. Me personally, I just write it down very badly, do the maths, and then just kind of cross my fingers and hope for the best. Sometimes I expect not to get a point score because I know that I'm not going to. On my 592 account, I've just gone from like masters to pursuer, and what I actually did was I literally went masters, bloodtooth. Oh no, sorry, tell a lie. Masters. Shit, why am I having such Buck. How can I forget that one? It's literally the bane of my frickin' life. I have all the frags now for that, so that's fine. It was nowhere near as hard on this account as it was on that account to get buck frags. The frag drop rates are... they need revising, shall we say. They're not very good. So yes, anyway, I went Master's Buck and then on to my Pursuer. And the reason why I've done that is because I know that if I maxed it out as Buck, I wouldn't barely get a point score. So doing it this way, it's kind of an even kill. So when I come into the event on Saturday, I know that I can literally just go bish, bash, bosh, and do all my upgrades on the Pursuer, rather than dismantling something, bringing my score down, and then trying to build back up again. It's very similar thing. So Pursuer and Bloodtooth have worked in a similar way when they first come into play, in the sense that you have a huge point loss before you start making them back up again, depending on how many upgrades you've got. I mean, if you've got 6 scrolls for, I don't know, the crossbow sat in your bag, you don't need to worry, you're absolutely fine. But if you're a free player and you've only got 1 upgrade sat in there, you know, really please do the math. If you're not going to get a point score, don't do it, just hold on to it. You might be able to do it in another event, not necessarily main event, so that you are still getting those stats rather than waiting another 4 weeks for the next main event to come around. But just make sure that it's worthwhile. I would never ever advise people to do upgrades when all you're getting is speed ups and resources, because you get those every single day in game. You're not investing back into your account by doing that, unless of course you are a C45 and you don't need anything else, and all you need is resources, because all you've got left to do is build troops. Alright, I have completed this, but I'm just going to send these little guys away. And again, you know, like I was saying about people having their own systems and stuff, another one of my guys, Gunner, he looks at everything that he's got, and anything that can be recrafted at a later date, he completely dismantles and then puts all of those materials into whatever it is that he's trying to increase for point score, and then he just rebuilds afterwards. I don't do it like that, but not because it's a bad idea. It is a very, very good idea, but I am stupid. I would absolutely bugger it up, and then I would just spend like 2 weeks hating myself because I did something really fucking dumb. But it does. There's a couple of other people in my 433 alliance that do that as well. The only reason that I don't is purely because I am a moron. I should do that, and you guys should probably do that as well. It's a way of kind of maximizing your point score. That's the reason why they do it. So I think that's it really, because I never really tell you guys exactly what to do. I just kind of show you where things are. I'd like to think that I'm teaching you, but I also like to think that I'm helping you guys to teach yourself. Yeah, so for all of those people that do comment in Facebook saying that GOG has done you out of your point scores, please understand what the point score is, understand what the benchmark is, and understand that you need to use a bit of your brain to actually start working that out as well. So you need to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper or the calculator on your phone or whatever you've got, and you need to say, right, if I'm going to dismantle a pursuer +6 and I've only got enough materials to make a bloodtooth +2, am I going to cry about it when I don't get any points? Okay, so just bear in mind, I'm not saying don't do those upgrades. I still do them. There are things that I upgrade when I know that I'm not going to get a point score. It's okay, it's fine. I just concentrate on those areas in the next event. This event, I will solely be concentrating on guard weapons because mine are dire and they need a really, really good spruce up. There's some absolutely brilliant stats in those new guard weapons, especially with the honing and things like that. So you guys should be making those your attention as well. But I guess that depends on where you are in the game. It depends if you're just starting or if you've been playing for a long time. And obviously, if you've got all of those already, then woo! Fair play to you, because those hone-in stats and everything are absolutely amazing. There's quite a few people in my alliance that take advantage out of that right now. Can't wait to join them. So yeah, from me and my giant hat, I will see you all on Christmas Day. Have an absolutely amazing week. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Don't forget to subscribe.